Welcome everyone to the Win Now podcast, hosted by Deborah Byrd, founder and CEO of Plug and Play SM.
I am so excited for today's show, so let's go.
And then myself, Todd Bookspan, founder of Win by Noon. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Win Now podcast. I am your host, the founder of Win by Noon, Todd Bookspan, and I am super excited that you're all here. And I'm even more excited that my co-host, Deborah Byrd, CEO and founder of Plug and Play SM, is here. Welcome, Deborah.
Co-host with the mostest. I'm good. How are you? It's technically, so I know when people listen to this recording, it's March 20th, which is the first day of spring for 2023. And I love springtime.
All right, there's nothing wrong with spring for you Texans especially. And speaking of Texans, why don't you introduce our guest today?
Yes. Well, we have Courtney Benson, who is a local real estate agent. She's actually I want to say 10 minutes down the street from me. But what I love about Courtney is she's just real. She's raw. She's authentic. She's in the top 500 of real estate agents. She's a mom. She's hilarious. And she's 46 and killing it on TikTok, guys. She's getting business.
Much to the chagrin of my teenage children.
That's what I tell myself is my excuse for not being on TikTok. So maybe I'll learn something from you. And so why don't you give a quick overview kind of yourself and how long you've been in this business, all that boring stuff, so people know how big of a deal you are.
Oh, I don't know that. Believe me, my family makes sure that they know that I know I'm not that big of a deal. Mom, we get it. Mom, you're on TikTok. We get Let's see, I have been a realtor for 9 years. My husband's a realtor as well. We have a team here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the Courtney Benson Property Group. I got into real estate because I was out of hope. We had bought some dry cleaners here locally during that whole, crash, 2009. And we spent all of our money, lost all of our money, had to sell our house, move in with my mother-in-law. And with $237 in our bank account, I spent $199 of it accidentally on a Groupon and bought real estate courses. So that's how my journey into real estate started. And then it was like a no-fail option kind of thing. I came out of the cosmetic industry after 14 years. I was a corporate trainer for Sephora, Ulta, that kind of thing. So, real estate really just kind of suits me. I love negotiating. I loved looking at houses and doing all that. And then you kind of morph into something different with real estate after a while. And I love negotiating. I love training. I love the nuances of how do you get business? How do you connect with people on a larger scale? Because one at a time as you're trying to scale your business is exhausting and it's hard. So I kind of dove into that in social media. And when I started, TikTok was not a thing. So, Facebook and how do you put yourself out there on Facebook? And I got really good at that. I'm very self-deprecating with my humor. Because at the end of the day, it's about the person watching you. What are they getting from you and why are they going to keep watching you or rooting you on? And so it was just really about sharing the funny things about real estate, the exhausting things about real estate, the awards we got, why we got it, that kind of stuff. And there's always a story behind it. People will connect with you when they hear a story behind it. So I always say, Facebook was like my billboard of what I was doing. And so when you go and meet with somebody at a party or an event or whatever, you don't have to, because realtors have this thing where they're always like chomping at the bit to tell somebody they're a realtor. Like if I just tell this one person I'm a realtor really quick, that they're going to do business with me. And then you're making it about yourself. So nobody wants to do business with you. And so social media was like a way for me to share. It was like a highlight reel, of the goods, the bads, all the kind of things. So when you meet with someone in person, you don't have to worry so much about, they've already seen it. Like I would be at the grocery store and someone was like, oh my God, I saw your D Magazine award, Courtney. And I'm like, hey, so it was just kind of a cool way to connect that's authentic. And then I took that to TikTok and it's just been crazy. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and so I think there's a lot of people who could be listening right now that may have just gotten into real estate or even into the mortgage industry, and they may be feeling very similar to how you did in 2009, where, it was tough. You don't have just, it's not like when rates were at 2.5%, you could shake a tree and there's just
Right.
leads
Right.
or money everywhere. So the challenges today are a little bit tougher. Have you had to pivot your content strategy at all? Do you have a strategy? Do you just, show up and you're looking at some of the trending audios or maybe dances and then applying it to your
No,
content? So yeah.
so I got into TikTok because my kids were on it and I wanted to see what they were doing. And then because we're extremely competitive, and I was like, hold my earrings, kids. Mama's about to show you. And then I think we did like a few dances in the beginning. And then one day I was having like a day, with work, and I'm like, turn the camera on. Here's where I did a video early on. I did a video about when it was all the craziness during the pandemic about the builders. Basically, like, y'all suck. Here's what you're doing to our clients. Here's what you're doing to us. And believe me, this is not something that's going to go on forever. So there's going to be some regrets there. So watch how you treat people, kind of thing. And that one went viral. And then that was kind of how it kicked off. And people were like, oh, you should talk more about real estate and stop dancing, Courtney. And I was like, I hear you, And so then it just kind of was about real estate and, sharing things. And I have a way of telling stories. I kind of ramble. I kind of, but that's just me. I would love to say to everybody, I have a schedule of content that I am like, I'm going to do this and this. But I don't. That's just not how I work. I am a very business focused person, but I have an extremely creative side of like design and how I do things. And that's just, my husband and I were talking about this morning because I've designed 2 Airbnbs. One of them's ours. And so that's just how my brain works. I go from here to here and then I revisit this and I'm like, do they call that ADD? Or just kind of bebopping around to stuff. But I think part of my authenticity that I bring is I don't have it scripted. I don't have something like on my phone, I'll have, some TikTok ideas as they come up because maybe I do have ADD and they're gone like that just as quickly as they come to me. So if I don't write it down, I don't remember. I am 46 with 2 teenage children and a business. So, but sometimes I'll like scroll through and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good idea. And then I turn my camera on and I record it. But there is no big, script or anything that I follow. So I do think that's how I can connect with people,
And for those listening who may think, because I hear this all the time, we will create content for our clients, and then we also help them with giving them ideas to help supplement in between some of the things that we're doing. And I used to be an originator, so I really know the lingo of mortgage and real estate. You may know my twin who's in the area, the mortgage nerd. She does loans here. Yeah. So I always forget to mention that to local people because they're like, you look and sound familiar. Are you? I'm like, I'm not the nerd. I'm the Byrd. I'm the other one. But a lot of times people are like, well, I just don't know if my social's working. Like, I don't know if I'm getting direct leads. And again, the people that I work with are loan officers. So when they maybe have a client that applies and they're looking at, well, how did you find out about us? And it says my real estate agent, but they may not realize that, the client took time to go research you on social. And so the moment that they made the decision, like now I feel safe enough, or, this person doesn't look crazy, I will go ahead and contact them. It's like that moment of influence for them to make that decision. You've already got the deal as long as you don't screw it up from here, but it was the social proof that helped build the trust. So how do you help those, that behavioral metric, which is hard to always track? How do you know what would be the roadmap of closing more deals by leveraging social, in your opinion, with how you've used it for real estate?
I always go back to the formula, and I didn't make this up. They have to know you, like you, and trust you. And somewhere along one of those 3 things, people get hung up. They can't like you and trust you if they don't know you. So if you're looking for somewhere to start, there you go. They got to know you. And that is it. And I set out of how do I get people to know me? There's 60,000 realtors plus or minus here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So how do you stand out? Like, what do you do? So you have to find out, you really have to figure out who you want to work with, who you are. And you have to have confidence to put it out there and believe it. I just had a viral video last week with 1.4 million views where I told people their refrigerator magnets were ugly, and when they sell, they should take them off the refrigerator. And, but that's, if you're going to do social media, I'll explain this. Somebody told me this once, and this was awesome. People like hot tea, people like cold tea. Same thing with coffee. Nobody likes warm tea. So if you're coming out here and you're on social media and you're warm tea and you're like, everybody's great, I can help you, posting on social media. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell, please remember me. No, that's about you. That's not about them. So give them something that helps them. Then they get to know you. So people, again, have to know you. And when you're on social media, you have to show up every day, because that will now get people to trust you. So when you turn on your TikTok, I guarantee you by the 5th scroll on your FYP page, there will be my face. Whether you love me or hate my face will be there. And then, so now you're getting to trust me because you're like, this girl shows up, like she is here. When you get on social media and you're on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, and you're looking for your favorite people that you follow, it is a moment of comfort when you see them. You kind of, and you don't even really acknowledge it, but you're like, oh, there they are, like, oh, there's my TikTok bestie, I've got, like, so now that they're knowing you because you're out there, then they're trusting you because you're showing up. So you have to just keep going. Like, I'll talk to people about TikTok and they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm too old. I don't like the way I look. I hate the way my voice sounds. I don't know what to say. Everybody has something to say. And will people hate on you? Absolutely. And you know what? When they start hating on you, you're on the right page. Like, you just have to keep going. Don't be warm tea. Like, go in, be confident, and do it. And it can be tough, but they, know you, like you, trust you. Again, you've got to show up every day. You have to get people to know you. Your content will get them to like you they'll either like you or they won't. You're not going to have everybody. I mean, we don't like everybody, that's, but I think we grow up with, you have to be friends with everyone. No, you don't. You don't have to be friends with everyone. You should respect everyone, but you don't have to be friends with everyone. Social media is like that too. And not everyone's going to like you. And that is okay. And you know what? If they're like, I hate you and I hate your eyebrows, because I've had that 3 times. And I feel like people know that's an insecurity of mine and they really go right for the jugular with it. And I'm like, I don't want to work with you anyways, because you're dumb. Like, then you have that moment and then you move on, but every time someone makes like a little snarky comment, I'm like, triggered. I got you, you just have to kind of do that and move forward. But if you're in real estate, honestly, your skin's got to be pretty tough anyways.
Well, I was just thinking that you had great eyebrows. So, but
thank you. I appreciate that.
I love that, because Deborah always preaches that we got to be on social consistently, right? I think that's a good word. But I love the fact that you said that's what gets people to trust you when you continue to show up on there. So I love that way of stating something that we all know is true.
Yeah. And when they trust you, and I had somebody else mention this to me one time, and I hadn't really even thought about it, but when you show up constantly and you're giving value to other people, then the people who come to you, they don't ask for discounts. They don't start looking to nickel and dime you, because like you're the person who is in their house now, and they've seen you, and they've, I got a call last Monday from a guy in Fort Worth wanting to sell his house, and we're talking, and I'm like, I don't know where this guy came from. Like, he just called me, and I said, where'd you come? Like, where'd you find me? He goes, oh, TikTok.
Isn't it funny how people are like, because I'll go and teach classes and I'll always ask people like, pick your poison. Which one do you prefer? And I'm like, and don't be ashamed of TikTok. Like, can we all just accept that if you use that as your escape activity or whatever, like there's no shame. If you I love TikTok. I think it's hilarious. That is my drug of choice in my late night baths that I just, I learn.
Yes.
I get inspired. I laugh. Like, I think, and I like that it allows adults to be kids again and to be creative. And it's not a platform that discriminates. You could be old, like there's grandparents that are killing it on TikTok. You could be very unattractive. There's no discrimination with.
And in fact, TikTok likes it when you're a little more raw. Like, I think that people were taking the Instagram idea and putting it over on TikTok where everything is curated and everything's pretty and all that. My viral videos I wear a lot of trucker hats. Just, I don't know. I like them. I wear them in my house. One guy's like, why are you cooking dinner with a hat on in your house? I'm like, why are you up in my business? Like, leave me alone. And I just hat on, no makeup. Nothing is well lit. I mean, I have 26,000 followers and I have zero setup. Like right now, my laptop is on a fruit bowl that's upside down. Like you don't have to have this equipment and all these things. And in fact, the people that do, they don't do as well. TikTok likes things that are a little off, a little askew. There's, something's just, I just love TikTok. And I don't know if you know Alex Earl. She's a big TikTok girl right now. And she goes to the University of Miami and she's all over the place and she's tiny and she talks really fast. And all she does is she puts on makeup and tells you stories. And she's super viral. And she literally has crap all over the floor in her bedroom. She's got a robe on. It's got makeup on her. And she's just this beautiful girl. But she's so funny and relatable because people are like, look at her, she's so beautiful and she has this perfect body and she's just so cute. But you look at her room and you're like, mine looks like that too. I have makeup on my robe too. I have so she breaks down that idea of what she is unattainable because that is like that when you're at the end of the day, we're selling, we are in sales. And so I am just like everybody else. I'm selling. I've got, because people see you, but they want to connect with you. And so nothing is perfect. And TikTok loves when things aren't perfect. So I was like, that's my platform.
You say there's hope for me. Yes. All right.
Yeah, those are my people.
Yes. Well, and truth be told,
before I become viral. So I just, that's my excuse. I'm telling myself, you never know what's going to happen. So
you don't. The last TikTok I did a week ago with 1.4 million views. And I was sitting in my living room or my dining room, which is in the middle of a remodel. And I don't think I'd washed my hair at all that day or anything, and I was just like, did a quick TikTok. And I'm like, of course, it's like when I don't have makeup on, stuff goes viral, and it's funny. And then I just feed into it. Like I did a call with my Coldwell Banker office one day and some guy said, they're big cold callers and door knockers. And I'm like, I would rather gouge my eyes out, to be honest with you. I'd go find a new career if I could do that. Like that is not my personality. I cannot do that. And I said, well, my outreach is I respond to people. And I got some trolls. I got some good ones, but part of and then I just will go back at them, like I got one today about this lady. She's like, everything you said is crap. I used to be a realtor. I'm like, used to? What you doing now? Like, if you used to, you probably weren't very good at it. So you might want to listen, like people just, and it's funny. And some people are funny and we'll go back and forth, but it's all like in jest, but you do have to have a thick skin with it.
But that's how I originally reached out to you, not even realizing you were right in my backyard, as I had seen a comment that you proactively made, and I'll just say the first name on one of Mark's posts, and he was kind of like trash talking social media and how
the lender
distraction. Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw your comment and I'm like, ooh, you go girl. Like I was like, of course I own a social media marketing company. So I have a bias, of course. And when I was an originator, I was just like you. I'm like, if I have to door knock, which I did, I took Bold 100 for KW. And if I didn't have my daughter with me, I totally would have quit because I was getting like the butt sweat and all literally door knocking, and people weren't opening the doors. And I'm like, we don't look scary. Like, why are people not opening the door? I'm like, this is going to take forever. Like this isn't going to work. I can't do a bold 100. Yeah. But I thought, what a, like, social is free other than your time. Why would you do this? Like, I just thought there's got to be a better way. And I know there's some that may get distracted and use it as a toy and not for prospecting, but social media is definitely a tool that, if leveraged correctly, can be a massive pillar to your business. So, I liked that you, not only are you consistent with creating content, but it sounds like you're also just social listening and commenting where you could add value, which is also, guys and girls listening, it's not just creating the content. It's also when you're commenting, people see your name and then people will follow you or they'll continue on with the conversation. And that is literally how our paths crossed.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
I like to harass Mark because that's what I do. And we work together and he's funny. He's young,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always like, whatever, like 20 something.
Yeah.
We did a podcast one time and he was talking about, he doesn't have any kids. He's not married.
Mm-hmm.
He wakes up and he does his TED Talks and he does all this stuff. And I'm like, ooh, I wake up at 5. I drink too much coffee and I watch my 600-pound life. Like I'm like, everyone has a process that's different. Mine is not pretty, but it works for me, so I do respond. And I think that's the key that people miss is it's called social media. So you have to be social. You have to respond to people. So if you're just putting stuff out there and then you don't follow up, you're not engaging. Like it's social media. So respond to people, whether they're being mean to you, they're being whatever. And the people who are mean have no profile picture and some weird name, and all the time it's spelled wrong. So whatever. But you have to be social and you have to respond. And that's how you find your people. And I am okay knowing that not everybody is my people. And you have to get comfortable knowing that not everyone is going to be your people. Don't be wormty.
Yeah, I think that thick skin is hard for people, especially just starting out. But I got to imagine, I've never had 1 million views on anything I've done, but I think that when people just start out, they're also fearful of the haters. If you only have 40 views, you're probably not going to have a hater out of 40 views.
No, if you want to go viral, you have to be a little spicy. You really do. Like because I laughed. I'm like, I put out like legit content that's like really good because I'm a really good negotiator. And I'm like, let me give you some tips. And I will put out some stuff. And then I offhandedly am like, and it was funny because I found this video and some guy did it because I love interior design. And he talks about, things that make your house look cheap. And I'm like, that is amazing. That hook right there, like, nobody wants their house to look cheap. So they're like, what is this girl going to say that I have in my own house? And so I was just giving things and there's, some people get it. They're like, y'all, it's not about a magnet. It's about the way you feel when you walk into someone's house and things are just not right. And then it makes the home does it devalue the home? In their minds, it does, when they put in offers, things like that. And you have to be funny. Like what I get, like, over 10,000 new followers from this 1.4 million viral TikTok that I did. So you can hate on me all you want. I got 10,000 new people who are listening to something that I'm saying and finding value in it, which then I use as a platform for my business. I've talked to people, like I said, about TikTok before, and I did a mastermind with Coldwell Banker, and I was sitting down, Courtney's going to talk about TikTok, and I hear the grumbling, and then I get up there. I'm like, well, what if I told you that, I did $30 million of business last year and 13 of it came from TikTok. And they're like, say that again. What'd you do? And I'm like, I know it seems really stupid, this whole thing, because if you're struggling with getting it out there or doing it, or you're uncomfortable, you just are like, that's dumb. I'm not going to do it, because it's easy to say something's dumb than to, dive into it and take the chance that you've got to work through it. Because it seems like, well, my 10-year-old's doing it and they're doing well at social media, or my teenager's on it. So what's wrong with me if I can't do it? Nothing. You just haven't found your voice. So you have to keep trying until you find your voice. I know that if I get on TikTok and I say something that is very direct and my tone doesn't waver, then I get all kinds of comments of, I'm mean or I'm whatever it is. And there's a few of those. And then the other people are like, you're amazing. Tell me more. Follow. So those are people over here that I'm not going to work with them anyways. That's fine. And then you find your people. But you have to have an opinion for somebody to either think you're wrong or they're going to think you're right. But if you have no opinions, then nobody cares. Nobody cares. They want to find their people who are either teaching them something, they're entertaining them, they're making them laugh, they're educating them. What are you doing? Are you entertaining? Are you educating? Are you doing both? But you have to do something. You can't be warm tea because nobody's going to follow you, because who are you following on social media? Who are your TikTok influencers that you're following? I guarantee you these people have opinions. They're keeping you on the edge of your seat. They're telling you you're doing something wrong. People love to be told they're doing something wrong. It triggers something in them and makes them respond. So you have to step outside of your comfort zone if you want to have more than 100 followers. If you don't, that's okay. That's not wrong either. But you have to have an opinion. You have to be strong with your opinion if you really want people to engage with you and you really want to leverage it to do something with it. So, I get my business that I cultivated from TikTok. I have a ton of realtors who follow me because they like my negotiating tips. They like my hacks, things like that. And so I'll get referrals from them from all across the country. So I get direct business from people who are local who find me. And then I get referrals. I have a big referral business from TikTok.
Okay, so we do have a question in the chat about, do you have any fear that TikTok will eventually be banned?
I have a lot of fears about a lot of things, and I cannot control it. So why bother? It's not. I am 46. I have lost all of my money. I opened 2 dry cleaners when I didn't even dry clean my own clothes. Survived that. I have 2 teenagers. I've been married 19 years. There's so many things that I've been through. If TikTok went away, I mean, okay, I don't like Facebook and Instagram as much, but I guess I would go over there. YouTube. There's all kinds of things, but it's there'll be other things. There's too much money in it for something else to not take its place, because at the end of the day, and if you follow the money, somebody will come out with something new, someone will take it over, there'll be something. But I have learned, because I am an anxious person, because I am a controller, I like to control things. I am learning at 46 that there are things that I cannot control, and whether TikTok goes away is something I can control. So you move on to something else.
So TikTok's your jam. Do you do any time on the other platforms at all, or repurpose your same content on the other platforms? What does that look like?
I feel like you called me out that I need to do that more.
No call outs here, no judgment, because I have 27 followers on TikTok, so I don't even have the 100 that you called out a minute ago. So I'm, every time Deborah's just doing this because she thinks I need to be all in on this stuff as my social media advisor. So I'm just, I'm so.
How many posts have you even made on TikTok, Todd?
Yeah.
Me? I made that one that you posted of us. That's it. None.
Yeah.
Maybe
so one, and that was a year ago. Over.
Todd, do you work out?
I do.
Do you work out consistently?
Absolutely.
How are your results?
They're good. The consistency is my middle name.
Oh,
that's what I teach. All right. So how long did it take?
Right?
How long were you on? So this is what everyone always asks, because I know it's a struggle. I know you're playing the long game, but how long did it take before you had your first viral video? Would it take a while, or just get lucky early on?
Oh, it's not a long game. You go viral like that and it's done, but you can't go into it thinking you're going to go viral. Anytime I posted a video and I'm like, this is so good, this is going to go viral, and it's like 300 views, and I'm like, okay. I've only really been on it, I guess it'll be 2 years, a year. My husband's looking at me like, Yeah, a year. So we went to a Coldwell Banker banquet in San Antonio, and the whole trip down, I filmed TikTok videos, and that was like, that really kind of kicked it off. So I've only really been at it a year, consistently for a year, and did 13 million, 26,000 followers. Like, so it things happen overnight on social media. That's what's so cool about it. It's like hitting the jackpot. You keep going and you're like, this scratcher's going to be the one. I'm going to win this time. And that's, you just have to stay consistent, and you don't know what will happen if you don't stay consistent. Because again, you're not showing up and people don't trust you. And that when you show up consistently on that social media platform, that's when people trust you. That's when you get the results, like working out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's important to know that of all of them, I've always thought that TikTok was the easiest to go viral on. And especially if you did adopt it earlier, like obviously 2020, it wasn't as noisy of a space. Like you still had those people that were like worried if, like I would post something on TikTok and then post it on Facebook. And there's been memes about this where like your Facebook friends don't get it. And even to where my twin sister was like, I just don't understand TikTok. And like, what does this even mean? I'm like, if you were on TikTok, you'd get the joke. Yes. And now I even catch myself because I'm on it so much and the different trends or different audio. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a TikTok. And people are like, no, like, so you speak in like TikTok language and memes, which is only funny for other people who are also equally addicted.
We did I went to my best friend. She's on TikTok too. We went to Arkadelphia, Arkansas yesterday, and I set up her Airbnb for her, and we're coming back and we're so hungry, and we stopped at Burger King, and she get like a soda or something, and she never gets it soda. And so she took a sip and she's like a reward. Now, nobody would have gotten that if they weren't on TikTok and knew that viral TikTok. And then we laughed,
Yeah.
She's 50. I mean, we're not kids, and that just seems to be where my platform is. And you had asked, and I didn't answer that, if I repurpose things, and the answer is yes. So I use an app called TickSave, and you can go onto TickSave and it removes your watermark, and then you can upload to Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. You can do all sorts of things. It is always on my agenda to do that, but sometimes things take too long, and then I get frustrated. So I just kind of stick with TikTok, and then I feel like the TikToks don't translate well for me to Facebook. I just have a totally different audience over there. It's just different. So I just stay where my people are on TikTok.
We've seen a bigger reach. Like Instagram's kind of been going through their own identity crisis. And when they converted all videos of the history of time to then be reels, and everyone was trying to do reels because they caught on to just the fact that algorithm pushes you to more non-followers. And really, I used to just joke and say, the reels are just 2-week-old TikToks.
Yeah.
For all those who said, I'm not going to be on TikTok. But so there was kind of like an oversaturation on Instagram. But we've seen a lift on the Facebook reels, believe it or not, and YouTube shorts. So, like with anything, sometimes when people figure out what works, they then can oversaturate one area. And it doesn't always work, but I'll have to send you my link to our scheduling tool where you can upload one video and do one post, and then it's multiplied to all platforms backed by AI. Yeah. And it'll read like the type of post to make sure that it's being posted when you have the most amount of active eyeballs per your analytics. So
yes, please send that to me. I need that.
Yeah. Easy button when it comes to repurposing.
I also, just for people to feel better about themselves with all this tech, I still have a calendar. So you can be that kind of person. Yes, I love paper.
Well, that's Win by Noon. See, that's my business. So we'll send you a Win by Noon calendar too, so you can see what it's like.
Oh yes, please do. I love a good paper and pencil. So you don't have to be all techie to do this.
We'll get
Todd,
to the we should give real estate agent social media edition that Deborah came up with.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. We should give Courtney the first one.
We will. You will be the first, Courtney.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Note to self. All right, email me your address. I'll make a follow-up note in my planner.
Okay.
It is a planner and it's quarterly, and it not only has just the daily activities as a real estate agent that have been proven from some of the top producing real estate agents in the country, those daily activities that if done consistently, and it allows you to track and measure. So you can look for little areas of improvement, which just a small tweak in conversion can really make a big difference. But then I put the Deb flavor of social media on top of it to make sure that people were still using social as a tool, but then also being the human and interacting and keeping it social. So it's just a little bit of accountability, and it gives you like a checklist system to make sure that you're doing those activities. And so Todd will have to make sure we give her that.
Done. It's on my to-do list.
Yes.
Thanks, Todd.
Perfect.
That was all
Okay,
exciting.
let's see. Okay, that was the question on the tool. We had a question earlier. I think you kind of answered it, but it said, have you figured out a way to measure your business success with your social presence?
13 million. Heck yeah.
Just, yeah, I mean, I'm not, my husband is the measurer of the things. I am not. I just am like, where'd that client come from? Oh yeah, that came from TikTok, or that came from a referral from TikTok. And then I just jot it down on my paper, and that is how I measure it. But yeah, I don't spend too much time with that. I do, because I had such a great year with it last year, and this year we already have 7 clients that we're working with that are from TikTok as well. So I expect this year to do even more with clients from that platform. But it's really just, this person's name, where'd they come from?
So
or being at the grocery store and
Yeah.
someone recognizing you or your TikTok.
It happened. We were in the American Express lounge at the DFW airport, and my husband and I were getting ready to go somewhere. And I had filmed, we got there early, so I'd filmed 3 TikToks in the car, and then I was kind of trying to stockpile them. Honestly, if I have makeup on, I try to do several at a time. So I had done some videos, and we're sitting in the lounge, and I was eating, and this lady came over. She goes, "I'm sorry, are you Courtney Benson?" And I was like, "Are you serving me papers? Like, I don't." Like weird, like, and she goes, "I follow you on TikTok." And I was like, "No way." And she's a realtor from Allen. And we started talking, and she'd ask me a question. She goes, "Never mind. I saw that video." I know. And then she looked at my husband. She goes, "What is your name? Are you, you're Mr. Courtney Benson." And she goes, "Gabe, your name's Gabe." He was like, "Yeah." So then we left, and he goes, "Oh my God, you're going to have the biggest head all day, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." So, and then when we go to events, I'm usually like, "Oh, you're the TikTok girl," or you're, that kind of thing. So.
all right, that's my future role. I'm going to be the TikTok mortgage guy. No, I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to figure something out. But all right, so I don't want to hijack us from social and TikTok. So if there's something else, bring it back to it. But you said earlier that it was there was no option to fail when after the dry cleaner stuff went and you spent your $199 of your $237 that was in the bank. I think there's a lot of people in real estate and mortgage right now who are feeling despair about their business. And so tell me about the mindset you had when you said, "Hey, I can't fail." And like, what was that like for you at that time?
Scary. It was scary. And honestly, my ignorance of the industry and what it was that I needed to do, I think saved me. Because if I knew what I know now, I would have been really overwhelmed. So I just went back to what I know, and which is just one-on-one personal connection. Anytime I grew a business or people bought things from me, I mean, I've been in sales my whole life. Cosmetics was the same way. And I used to laugh. If I went from one cosmetic company to the other, that client followed me. So I knew from that experience that they were buying me. They weren't buying what I was selling. So how do I sell myself first? And I think I've always done this. And so people who knew me, they were like, "Oh, you just got your license? Here's one thing I know about Courtney. She will have our back. She will get us the best deal. Even if she doesn't know about real estate yet, like I have a lot of tenacity." So they just trusted me, but I had kind of built up that reputation anyways. So it just goes back to the know you, like you, trust you. Are you connecting with people authentically? I think one of the biggest problems that agents have is they're not authentic in their connection. They're like, I have to get through 50 calls a day. And if I call those 50 people, the odds are somebody's going to work with me. You have to, if you want to grow your business, you really have to spend time with people and talk to them in a manner where you're not selling them something. Just being authentic, coming from a place of giving them information or help or whatever it is. And I think, just my family, my husband and I do that a lot. And it doesn't come from, I think if I do this, you're going to sell your house with me when you sell, or, whatever it is. But just, putting yourself out there, being confident in what you have to offer. I also get a lot of calls about things that happen locally. Like I love pop culture. I love the newest restaurant. I love the newest boutique. Like, what Nike shoes are we buying today, kids? Like that, so I'm that person. I like to find the weird stuff that's happening around town, and I take my kids to it, or, so people know me for that. And I get a lot of conversations about, okay, we're going on a date night, Courtney. Where did you go 2 weeks ago with Gabe? What did you have? That kind of thing. So it really has nothing to do with buying and selling. I just position myself as an authority for things. I'm an authority on where to go eat dinner. I'm an authority on, going to find the coolest boutique. I'm an authority on selling your house. So it's how you position yourself with the people that are already in your sphere and that you're connecting with. That's the quickest way to a deal. It's people who already know you, like you, and trust you, because you don't have to go through that process. So if you're starting and how do I get there? You need to work with go talk to the people who already know you, like you, and trust you, and then build your business from there off of that. And that's what I did. It was all referral. I mean, in 9 years, we don't buy leads. We are a referral-based business year after year.
Do you do any kind of events for your clients to kind of maintain the relationship, like post transaction, or any kind of first time home buyer classes? Anything else that you do? No.
Oh yeah, we like to party and celebrate. Usually every summer we'll buy out a movie theater. We have 2 teenagers, so we'll do like a back to school with the kids. When Star Wars came out again several years ago, we rented out a theater and did, a Star Wars event, and then we took donations to give to the food bank. Things like that. Every year at Christmas, we have a Christmas party at our house, and we have Santa Claus there and Mrs. Claus, and we bring in a vintage drink truck that they impose our logo on the drinks. And last year we had a hamburger truck, and we like to just celebrate with people and say thank you. When it gets cold, we'll go send them the faucet covers, stuff like that. We do, we like to do stuff like that and spoil people.
Nothing wrong with spoiling people. I don't know what a faucet cover is. I live in Arizona, but I'm sure it's a thing that you need when it gets cold.
Yes, it keeps your pipes from freezing.
All right, good to know. Good to know. All right, so Deborah, I distracted us for a minute from social. What other social questions should we be asking while we've got the TikTok expert here?
I personally feel one of the biggest challenges is creating either the content strategy or just the ideas. Like I do discovery calls now. Generally, these are more with loan officers, and I do feel like real estate agents typically have that high I personality, or they are very relational with their clients because they're walking properties. That it can be a little more friction for the loan officer who's used to being behind the scenes and just doing, qualifying income, to then all of a sudden I have to be a content creator. And so naturally what comes up is they're like, well, how do I think of ideas that someone else hasn't already said or hasn't already done? Like, how do I really know what's valuable to the audience? Do you have any kind of system or process that allows you to naturally consume content to then bank it so then you can create it, or kind of talk us through how you get the ideas?
I get the ideas from everyday life. These are things that are happening to me currently. But when I'm watching TikTok, I just hit the little, save button, and I'll go back and look at things and, oh, that was a good idea to do that, or, whatever it is. But I think I stay relatable because I talk about things that I'm dealing with, that I'm in the weeds with, that kind of thing. You and I had talked about briefly before we did this about, loan officers. And I know that you work with loan officers. And I guess I would share, if you don't mind, I would share. I have a lot of loan officers that follow me. I have a lot of realtors that follow me. And I get a hit up all the time. And I've done a few TikToks about it, actually, because I get hit up all the time about, hey, Courtney, your name has come across my desk a few times, and clearly it's the same script. Clearly you're killing it in the market. So there's my compliment. Check. And then I'm like, what else you got to say? Because realtors, there is an ego level there for sure. And so, loan officers are appealing to realtors, and we're a tough group. I wouldn't want to do it. So they will come at you with a compliment. And then, I don't know if you have some time, but I would love to just take you to coffee. When you're selling 30 million, 40 million a year, you don't have time for coffee, and you already have lenders that you have vetted, you have worked with. So somebody just calling you randomly out of the blue isn't typically that's not going to land. So I've talked about this before. When you look at, if you're marketing to realtors, what level is that realtor at? Are they new? Are they selling 2 million a year, 3 million a year, 10 million a year, 20 million a year? Because the needs change. If you are selling 2 million a year or 3 million a year, that phone call from that lender who's like, hey, do you want to go to coffee and do co-branded flyers? That might make you feel good, because then you have somebody who's in your corner and who's willing to support you and cover a cost, and you can share knowledge. As you get to 5 million to 10 million, you've got people that do that. People in your office are now paying attention to you, so they're coming at you with help. A lot of lenders have those little flyers, so maybe they already have a lender who's doing that. And then when you get to 20 million, 30 million, you probably have people on your staff in your team that are doing those things for you. So you don't want a co-branded flyer. Who's the co-branded flyer helping? It's not helping the realtor. So why would I do that? And then why do I want to spend 20 minutes having coffee with you? I can buy my own coffee. So my suggestion is, and here's a good example. There's a lender that works with Coldwell Banker, and they're they have some team thing with it. And he would call me, and I was like, hey, Alex, no, I don't have time for coffee. Hey, Alex, I don't. You know why? Because I'm selling houses. And you know why you want to talk to me? Because I'm selling houses. So if you take my time away from that, you wouldn't want to talk to me anyway. So I got to focus on that. And, it kind of became a joke with us. And, hey, let's go do this or let's go do that. And I'm like, I don't know you. Why would I want to do that? And so he follows me on Facebook, and I had posted that, I have a client who's looking for a five bedroom, certain area in, Prosper, Texas, the whole thing. So he calls me and I answer, and he said, hey, there's a realtor I work with, and she has an off-market property. It's her own property in Prosper, Texas. It's 5 bedrooms. Do you have a client looking for that? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, well, let me set it up for you. So he arranges for this agent who's listing this house to show us the house. He shows up at our first showing, meets me in person, meets the clients. He ends up getting my client's deal. So he's now their lender, found this property for us. My clients closed on it. He went a different route, because I didn't need the flyer. I didn't need the coffee, but what I needed was a property to sell to my clients. And he was like, I have this relationship over here, so I have information that you don't have. He sold me on his information. And it wasn't about lending. It was about something that I had a need, and he fulfilled my need. And that was it. So when you are out there selling, and you're trying to deal with all of these clients, and you're looking for properties, and you're doing all of this, if you have an insight on something and you're paying attention to those realtors that you want to get in front of, call them and say, hey, I have insight on this. Hey, this just hit the market. Hey, I know this person who's selling this house. Can I get you an introduction? That is a different strategy, that if you're wanting agents who are doing a certain amount of production, that will catch their eye. And staying consistent. I have lenders that I use who, stayed stayed consistent. And is there something that you're doing as a lender that somebody else doesn't? Mark Koretsky, he speaks Russian. I have lenders who speak Spanish. I have a lender who speaks Farsi. That's that same lender I was telling you about. He speaks Farsi, and the clients who were buying, they were contingent and had to sell their house in a neighborhood where there's a lot of buyers who speak Farsi. He showed up for 2 weekends in a row, 4 open houses as a lender, sat in our client's house for 4 open houses and spoke to clients as they came in their native language. And he stuck with it. And so to me, I was like, that you just showed me your work ethic. You gave value to me. You gave value to our clients. You showed up, and that impressed me. And so now we use them, and it was, but you have to meet the agent where they are. And if you're trying to do the same, if you're trying to prospect a realtor in the same manner who's brand new, and one who's been doing it for 10 years, you're not going to get the same results. So you have to adjust.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
That was huge. Like the smile on my face while you were saying all that it is a challenge. And I love the idea, because you're absolutely right. It's no different in any business, that the level of the success is going to determine the need that they have. And you have to figure out what that need is to provide value.
Yeah. I had one guy call me one time from Supreme Lending, and he said, hey, Courtney, he's talking to me. And he said, if you can send me some business. And I said, why would I don't know you. I'm really particular with my clients and who I send business to, because not everyone's created equal. So I said, he kept pushing. I said, I'll tell you this. I said, you want to work together. You send me a pre-approved buyer who doesn't have an agent, and then I will work with them. And then we get to work together and decide if this is a good relationship to have. And he said, wait a minute, you want me to send you a client? I said, you want me to send you one? I said, so if you're going to be offended at the very thing you're asking me to do, you need to reevaluate your stance and how you're going at people. So if you do have a client who doesn't have an agent and you're wanting to work with that agent, nothing gets a realtor's attention more than a pre-approved lead. It's a matter of that, So I'm just saying, come at it differently, and don't expect somebody to give you their business if you're not willing to do the same with them.
Which that kind of goes in line with what I even tell my clients when they say, I want to get 100,000 new followers, or I didn't get any engagement on this post. And I'll ask them, well, how many new follows did you give out today? Or how many comments did you give out? If you're not giving out 2x than what you expect to receive in return, then how dare you expect for something you yourself aren't willing to give out? So someone at your level, what would be valuable to you? Like, what are the challenges you're having besides anyone who's listening to this? By the way, if you guys have any North Texas referrals, like Courtney's your girl. I went ahead and put her link to her TikTok in the chat. I'll also make sure you're following Courtney Benson Official on TikTok
and Instagram. I'm on as Courtney Benson Official.
For those listening, make sure you follow her. But what would be something? What are your challenges right now?
I don't. I'm trying to think. I have so many that are different. But as far as I think one of the biggest challenges that I would have that would pertain to with lenders is communication, and proactively communicating with a client. At the end of the day, it's always the realtor's fault. If the carpet was dirty, if your loan didn't get approved, whatever happens, it
think the internet just paused. Am I the only one?
It paused for me too, but now that you spoke, it's unpaused. So we'll wait for Courtney to come back. Sure, her biggest challenge right now is her internet in Texas. Apparently, it's that freeze.
Yes, it's been colder here, but I'm always curious too when I ask this question, not just from the lending side of what a lender could solve. I'm genuinely trying to. Are you trying to recruit new agents? Is it training agents? Is it systems and process? Because I do feel the loan officer who can add the most value, real value, that doesn't just have to be from the mortgage side. Maybe it's, capturing the content.
Well, what I would say is this, right? If you ask me what challenges do I have, I'd say, well, gosh, do you have another hour or two? Like there's lots of challenges out there, right? And I think that there is a tremendous opportunity for us all to listen better. I think that my takeaways from today are many. Number one is, again, a year to go to get almost 30,000 followers on TikTok and have multiple videos that have 1 million plus views. That's a huge opportunity, right? So again, the best day to plant an elm tree was 20 years ago. The next best day is today. Number two is, her content is her being authentic, and her ability and willingness to sell. What she built her business on was her connections and relationships to people. So I think you got to start with the people that you have. And then there at the end, she kind of summed up what I've never heard when I've had what I would consider the most untouchable real estate agents on an interview. And someone asked them, how do I get a meeting with you? They first always say you don't. And then they're like, well, but unless you've got a pre-qualified, pre-approved buyer, then absolutely I will meet with you. And so for the loan officers listening, think about that. And then I would think for the real estate agents listening, think about your business, right? Think about what are your needs? And then the next time that a loan officer calls, have her or him articulate their needs to you so that they can do a better job of figuring out what that takes. And I think that I know you're going to say, well, always I want to lead, I want a pre-approved client, but is there some other need that you think that a successful loan officer could help you with? And then be prepared to make that ask. And then loan officers, you got to be prepared with knowing your value as well. How do you want to sum it up? We lost Courtney, her internet went out. Plus it's the end of our time with her anyway. So
yes. And she had just messaged me and was going to try to log back on, but I said, you know what, we've got like a minute left. So I will go ahead and make sure we do the recap. I do just want to make sure that if you are a real estate agent or loan officer, this all started because I saw that she had made a comment on a loan officer post that we had actually interviewed on Mortgage Coach not that long ago. And I just sent her a Facebook message and said, I really liked your comment, would love to interview you. Obviously on these calls, we try to highlight the guest speaker and to always make sure that we're providing value to the listeners or those who are viewing. And so it can be that simple of just when you show up consistently and you're using social to build the know, like, and trust, but also deepen relationships by liking and commenting and paying attention. I think what people don't realize is as soon as I see a like from Todd, I'm like, oh my gosh, he sees me, like he notices me. In a sea of so many people, I see that he's made a comment. And so it makes people feel special. And if you can do that consistently, then you position yourself in their brain as someone who does care, and people want to do business or refer business to people who care. So if you're struggling with the content creation game, just go to plugandplaysm.com. We can help you with that, or join our Building Referral Relationships program. That is, prices will be going up soon. So if you haven't joined that, then make sure you check that out. But
10 days.
There's no excuse for not just being a good human on social. You can do that's something that is a controllable that you can control. So make it a goal. Start small, put it in your planner, make it a goal to do 20 likes, 20 comments, 20 direct messages. And then I would add to that, look for new accounts to follow. Maybe it's the top producers in your area, it's the divorce attorneys. But if you want more followers, you need to be following new accounts, because people will reciprocate when they see the notification.
Love it. Love it. Well, as always, super grateful for all of you who listen, super grateful for Courtney for sharing time, and can't wait to pick her brain again in the future. And always, Deborah, grateful for you, my friend. Thanks so much for making this podcast better, and appreciate you, and look forward to our next conversation.
Yes. Y'all take care.